Now, some state governments in Nigeria have ordered the arrest of traders and other businesses rejecting the old Naira notes following the confusion on the legal status of the banknotes. Authorities in Kano, Sokoto, Katsina, Bayelsa, Zamfara, and Kwara states have issued directives to security agencies to deal with anyone rejecting the old 1,500 and 200 Naira notes. The development is sequel to the confusion caused by the failure of the Central Bank of Nigeria to issue directives to commercial banks on the extension or otherwise of the February 10 deadline for the currency swap, following last Wednesday's Supreme Court ruling restraining the federal government from enforcing the deadline earlier fixed by the central bank. Joining us now is former President Committee for Defense of Human Rights, Malachy Ugwumadu, and he will examine the legality and propriety of the governor's actions. Good afternoon, Mr. Ugwumadu. Thank you for joining us here on Newsday. Mr. Ugwumadu, can you...
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. I was just trying to confirm that you could hear me. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Now, it appears as though, we're seeing a case of, backdating laws and also a case of scapegoatism, for lack of a better word at this time, with what we saw happen in Kano State, I believe, where a supermarket was, shut down based on allegations of refusing the notes. I'd just like to know, was this actually a case of backdating the law, whereby there are consequences for actions when at the time of the action it probably wasn't in place or in play?
Well, the line was acting up a bit, but I think I get the gist of the matter. Whether such practice on the part of those who sought to ensure a compliance with the judgment of the court was normal or abnormal in the circumstance. My take is that every Nigerian, every authority, every institution is obligated under the law, this time the constitutional law, to obey the orders of the court. And I'm referencing section 287 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. In fact, it is the subsection 3 of that 287 that mandates every authority, every institution, every person to ensure the enforcement of court orders. Ex parte orders are court orders, no less that coming from the Supreme Court. So where we are is that whether convenient or not, every person, every institution, every bank, every operating environment ought to comply with the orders of the court. What is not very clear is whether people have started to leverage on the confusion and the level of inconveniences and suffering associated with the implementation of the policy of the central bank to now ride roughshod on fellow citizens. But this is, it goes to the question of implementation of this policy rather than the propriety or otherwise of the decision of the court. I hope I responded to the question as the network was acting up when the question came.
Right. No, thank you very much for that insight. Now, what are the rights of businesses and business people who are rightfully trying to do the best that they can to protect their business interests? For example, some businesses will say they operate a no-cash policy. Those are policies that existed prior to this current impasse. What rights do people in business have if we're saying that they are obligated to accept new notes? Is it not within their own business owners to say, this is how we operate our business?
No. If you say so and allow it to stand, it therefore would mean that there are other interpretations given to the express decisions of the court. Again, this is not just an appellate court. This is the apex court in the country. that has said that there is an order restraining the policy in the Naira swap of the central bank, the Naira swap, the directive of the central bank. In other words, making the old notes and the new notes legal tenders within the Nigerian economy. So if that were the case, it leaves no window, it leaves no liberty for private business owners to now begin to determine which currency to accept as against the other. What the effect of what this Supreme Court has done is to legitimize with their order the validity of both the old notes and the current notes. In other words, the old note can continue and subsist as a legal tender in Nigeria, pending the determination of the matter as it will. So, if that is a position, it does not lie in the mouth of private business owners. Inconvenient as that may be, to now begin to give further directives or take different steps that will be overreaching to the beneficiaries of that order of court, which is the Nigerian people. In other words, you might be found to be contemptuous of the orders of the Supreme Court if you are found to have taken steps to give further directives other than the one that the Supreme Court has given. The Supreme Court is the Supreme Court of Nigeria. It has spoken, and we must abide by the decision of the Supreme Court until further actions are taken contrary to what it is now. And I'm referencing section 287, subsection 3. That is a constitutional power that they reserve to do what they have done.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ugwumadu.